everybody, it's Sarah. Welcome to Unmuzzled. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I really appreciate it. Today, I have actually a guest I've been trying to get for a while, and finally, Tom and I are able to connect. The work that he is doing is so important. Tom, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate everything you do. So let's start with how this all started. So he's with Canine Rescue Ukraine. When you see the photos, when you see the images, if you saw the image in the title still, you will know that this work is it's remarkable. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how it started. I do because I read it, but our listeners want to hear it. So Tom, tell us how this all started, because you were there in the beginning.
Well, thanks for having me on here and being able to tell the story. How it all began is I was sitting in the living room of my home here when the war began, and short story is a friend and I decided we could go over to help in Poland with the refugee situation, and one thing led to another. We went to help with feeding, but we ended up, I had a backup plan to help a clinic, a veterinarian clinic, and one thing led to another, and I began bringing animals out of Ukraine into Poland at the beginning of the war and distributing food, and the whole world was helping. There was so much food. We were just busy all the time distributing it, and the animals, we were crossing the border with them day and night, and Poland was accepting them. And then one day they put the brakes on, and ever since then it's been very difficult, or at least it's just back to the regular practice of what you have to have documented to get your animals across. And because Ukraine is not part of the European Union, there's a lot to be done. And I did rescue a cat from Kharkiv, came home with me. His name is Bob, and that would be Ruben in Ukrainian. It was fairly easy, straightforward for me to get him back. But anyway, then I was helping people deliver food. I decided to go on my own, and I got a hold of a van and made my contacts and started picking up food and distributing it to people I had met before. And one person leads to another, and so on, as you know. And I ended up meeting up with a guy named Nick Tad from the UK, and we began working with this organization, Canine Rescue International, which we are not with anymore. And they are a big presence on the internet, and we're working our way up. So we're Canine Rescue Ukraine. But anyway, we met there and we developed everything there, what we do in Ukraine. We know, made my contacts, we call it my little black book, the ins and the outs, the way to talk to the military at the checkpoints and so on and so forth, how to get food out of Europe delivered to us. We have a warehouse now in a town or a city called Boryspil. It's a suburb of Kyiv, if you will. It's to the east. It's where their international airport is. And anyway, we have an airport there. I live in Kharkiv, which is about 5 hours away from there. But I'm in the east side of the country where I do most of my work. And most of the supplies, they don't want to come much past Kyiv with them because of the war. So it works out well for us. But anyway, we had no plans. This was not by design. One thing led to another. We didn't know what we were doing until we were nearly halfway through doing it. And so we made another contact with our friend Luda in Ukraine, and we decided to go on our own with a Ukrainian-based foundation called Canine Rescue Ukraine. We're registered in Ukraine. It entitles us to a lot of benefits within Ukraine, such as we're able to bring supplies across the border from Poland without really any problem. And we also get the benefit of using their postal system called Nova Poshta. Every month, since we're a foundation in Ukraine, they give us 8,000 points, which is 8,000 grivna, which is their $8,000, which is not $8,000 US, credit to ship the stuff around the country. And their postal system is efficient. It really is one of the best things going that I've had experienced in Ukraine. Very efficient, very inexpensive, and plus they give us this free shipping. So now we are in it deep, and happy to. I have been in Ukraine for over 700 days since the war began. 5 trips from the U.S. back over there and back, and I just returned at mid-August, and I plan on going back after the first of the year for an unlimited stay. It's necessary, rounding up some more contacts and taking care of the foundation. Our goal is to leave the foundation in the hands of our Ukrainian director and the Ukrainian people and be able to manage it from America and from the UK. There's just 4 of us, 2 people in the UK, Rebecca Redmond Oliver, who gathers our supplies. She's amazing. She gets so much food and supplies. We ask for an examination table and ultrasound, and she comes up with it. And then Nick Tad, who has been my co-pilot and colleague in country. And then we have Luna, who is our director in Ukraine. She lives in Poltava, runs the show within Ukraine, and keeps us legal within the system. But that's how it's been. We've met incredible people. I've met some of the worst people I've ever met on the planet, but that's war. Anyway, that's how we've gotten to where we are now. We've been to the frontline areas. We've been to all these cities that have been lost to the Russians, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, down in the Zaporizhia area. I live in Kharkiv when I'm there, and I'm 18 miles from Russia. And it's nothing. And from there, I go up and down the Donetsk to bring supplies and bring animals out and take them to locations, work with other organizations. And now there is not much there. In the beginning, there were a lot of people working, a lot of volunteers, a lot of food, a lot of money, a lot of aid. Not now. You can count the people that do what I do on one hand, and the people that I collaborate with in Ukraine. Odessa Cat Crew, one of the finest group of people I've ever worked with, and they have a cool name. And there are many others, but we coordinate together. We all have our specialty, and I've met some of the finest people I can tell you, as I said. But anyway, I'm going back, and we'll keep this thing going. We have a website now, which we just launched, and we're trying to get our donation link in it, and it may be there, but give us a day or two. It's caninerescueukraine.com right there on the page. Thank you. And anyway, you have some questions for me?
Yeah, I have a million questions, but I'll try to keep them tight. For you, coming home after going there and really going there quickly and saying, I need to do something. It takes guts, number one, to do that. And then to get there and kind of have to make these connections and then put it in other people's hands when you leave. How much does what you have seen there weigh on you? But even before you had these great people in place to help, how much did it weigh on you coming back and not and just feeling like, oh, that number one, that was a tough place to be, but I'm also worried about what's going on now that I'm home and not there.
Yeah, I understand. And that's a a great question. The first time I went with my friend, as I said, we went there really with no intentions of doing anything monumental to do our volunteer work. I think we were there for 10 days when my friend Joshua, went back to New York. He's chef at the Waldorf Astoria, and he wanted to cook over there. But I stayed on in Poland working with this veterinarian clinic, and I stayed there 3 weeks, and then I came home. And I came home and I was lost in the atmosphere about what I had just experienced. I'd only been in Ukraine a couple times at that trip, and so I came home. My wife and I had a trip planned to Spain, and bless my wife, she could see that my mind was not on Spain. It was on Ukraine. And I really felt like I could go back and do some more because I knew I could. It was an opportunity for me to help and to use my experiences in a positive way. And so I went back and it just snowballed. What I end up doing a lot of times is go and get involved in something and find out what I like about it and what I think I can improve on, and go do it myself. It's just a way it always seems to work out. And now that we have our own foundation, we're pretty much launched here. We're not well funded by any means. Trust me. It's getting money these days is very difficult, as you know, especially internationally with everything happening around the world, in the Mideast and such. But Ukraine's still there, and there's still plenty of problems, and there's fewer people to do the work.
Yeah, and really just remarkable that, I think a lot of people, and not to take away from anyone or anything, they go in, they do something for 5 days, they'd say, I'm good, I helped, I can post it on Instagram. But like the fact that you were there for 700 days, you come home and now you're going back and you have people in place to help you, I think is just remarkable. Do you have a background in animals? Like what drove this desire to help?
Well, no, not a strong background in animals. Dog, cat owner, not all my life, but in the past 25 years. And I'll probably the best job I had in my life was my last job as my retirement job, where I worked 5 months a year for the Washington State Fair Foundation. And what we did is an organization that we would go around to elementary schools, and I drove a semi truck that opened up into a big learning center. And we brought another truck that had goats, sheep, ducks, chickens, pigs, rabbits, and we would teach a few classes a day about agriculture and farm life. And I did that for a few years, and that was a gas because I didn't have to take care of the farm animals except during the day. And that's anyway, I just always had a good rapport with animals and children, and so it's just a no-brainer. And I was a long-haul trucker for most of my career. I was an owner-operator, my own equipment, and I've driven millions of miles. And I'm a handy kind of guy, and I build things and repair things and modify things. And I knew this would all benefit what I could do over in Ukraine. So I was averaging 10,000 kilometers a month over there for the first year and a half. That's about 6,000 miles. So I like to drive. I know how to do it in all kinds of weather. I go in the winter too because there's no volunteers. Even when there were tons of volunteers, we called spring and summer volunteer season. People would show up. They do what they can. I understand not everybody can be there all the time, but I made a point of going in the winter to experience it. The first winter there was really sketchy, and but it's better now.
Just incredible work. It's an honor to talk to you. Can you, and maybe this could be hard, but do you have like a story that you can share of whether it's helping somebody, finding an animal, and then getting it into safety? Is there one that like sticks out to you?
Well, not really one in particular, but there's always those that I think about in the past. Bakhmut, if you're familiar with that, was a city that has fallen to the Russians, and we were going in there when the battles were being fought on one side of the city, and we would deliver food to people, a lot of food. I had 5,000 loaves of bread in my van alongside of animal food and everything else. We would deliver it to people in Bakhmut that have chosen to stay, and aid centers that was distributing it. But there were dogs, and friendly dogs. And I have this photograph I took of this one very unique looking dog. I'll share it with you, that I took at the very moment of an explosion. And you can see this dog's fright and shock at this explosion. I think about that one. And there's the ones that make it, and there's a few that don't make it. And sometimes you just have to pack that away and keep moving on. The things that I like to remember, the happier events. And one of my happier events that happens occasionally is I transport owls. I have moved a lot of owls from Dnipro and the frontline areas to a rehabilitation clinic in the Dnipro area. And then after they're there, they go to a sanctuary up near Kiev, north of Kiev. And I've probably transported over 25 owls since I've been there. One escaped while it was in my van when I was out of the van, and I came out and opened the door, and it was sitting on my steering wheel, staring at me. It was hilarious. I have a photo of that as well.
I have to see that.
Yeah, we picked up donkeys, sheep.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, just the fact, I think most of us don't even think about that kind of thing because you're just so centered on what's happening, the people, but there's so much more to it all. I mean, so much more. So thank you, Tom. So for people that want to donate, please go to the website. You can see it on the screen. I'll also put it in the bio, caninerescueukraine.com. Eventually, you'll be a 501c3 charity, right? Is that the goal?
Well, that would be a goal. It depends on how long we're needed in Ukraine. It's that would be a goal, but I'm not holding my breath on it for any time very soon. But we are moving that direction.
That's great. And the key, I think, what you probably need most is monetary, right?
Right. We have our donations of food and supplies figured out. We get it from all over Europe and mostly from the UK. Problem is transportation costs. We have a way of distributing now, even when I'm not in Ukraine. And so that's it. And we just paid for a van through the generosity of some of our followers. But anyway, yes, we need money for fuel is really what it comes down to. And fuel's not cheap there as it is here in the US. It's about the same price. at least here on the West Coast. Yeah.
Yeah, well, incredible work. So please, if you can donate, again, the website's on the screen. Tom, this was eye-opening for me. I'm sure for my listeners and viewers, it's going to be eye-opening for them. Go follow their pages. Look at the work we do. Look at the work they do. And I know, Tom, it has probably been so hard for you to think about what you've seen and been through over there. And I just appreciate you so much for doing it, because for those of us that can't, you are just incredible. So I know I'll be making a donation for fuel as a thank you. And please, anybody listening or watching, do the same. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me. This has been fun. Thanks so much, Sarah.
Thank you so much to Tom, who does just incredible work. I'm so proud to have him on this podcast. Supporting sponsors, thank you. Thank you so much to our supporting sponsors. Give the gift of joy and memorable moments of furry loved ones with a gift card from Kimberly Kingan Photography. For more details, please visit her website at KimberlyKingan.com or contact her directly at her email, kimberly@kimberlykingan.com. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and they're dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions as they age or when recovering from an injury. They also offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit theK9PT.com. That's THEK9PT.com. Anything is Plausible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every stage of your dog's life and have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement. Check out Anything is Plausible. Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. With over 12,000 square feet of indoor space and a huge yard, they are the one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Bark Pouch makes 5 mess-free lickable treat recipes in 2 sizes for a delightful time with your dog or dogs. Their grab-and-go pouches make warm weather fun and easy breezy. Whether you're traveling, enjoying a long walk, patio season, or family and friend gatherings, Bark Pouch's irresistible, all-human-grade treats let you focus on what matters most: time with your dog or dogs and loved ones. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of CDH Hospital and the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet. Thank you, sponsors. Thanks, everyone, for listening and watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you next week. Bye.